I'm actually surprised there's anybody here this morning. As Andy was saying, South by Southwest, and I heard someone else say back there, I got 2 hours of sleep, so congratulations to all you making it this morning. Couple of things to note. One, I grew up in performance marketing, and I've never had a brand job in my life until this year, so this is going to be interesting. And two, I've never actually done this exercise before, so and I've never spoken on this topic, so this is going to be a fun 5 minutes of me going through this, and we'll see what ends up happening. And if you have a bunch of questions, it's most likely me having no idea what I'm doing, and also at the same time probably not articulating what we actually went through, but I'll try my best. So the first 4 slides, I'm going to give you just a little bit of background on our business. So Credit.com is actually part of a bigger company called Progression out of Salt Lake. We actually have about 4,000 employees, and so I think what intrigued Steve about this is our business is a smaller business inside of a bigger business, and it actually, as you guys know, moving a aircraft carrier takes a long period of time. I'm sure Andy's talking about taking a year. I can't even imagine all the hoops you have to jump through to get that to happen. So we actually, so I'll give you a little bit more. We work with, Credit.com has a 25 million visitors a year. We have financial awareness is generally how we think about it, making people aware in terms that they need to understand credit-related activities. We work on credit repair. We're actually a market leader in credit repair. We work with about 1 million people a year to help them. The funny thing about credit repair is it has some negative stigmatizations, but about 1 out of every 5 people in America has negative items on their credit report that are inaccurate, which actually help, which reduce your interest rates, has a ton of other implications, et cetera. So we work on that. Credit care products, after we work on you with credit repair, we help you with credit care. Financial products and services, and B2B solutions. Anyway, so let's move on. So here's generally our value proposition. You need to know about things, we help you. If you have... Could you
hop on the stage?
Hop on the stage, got it. Sorry, I hate stages. Stages are whatever, I'd rather just have a conversation. Anyways, help users improve credit and financial literacy. We help inaccuracies on credit profile if needed, help consumers maintain good standings, and then help consumers stay alert through monitoring, and then we also make sure that they make good decisions long term after we help them. Okay, so here's where we started. We know that if you think about it, credit is actually a journey through life. Generally, people don't wake up in the morning and say, wow, I need to go check my credit score. What happens is they did something yesterday which impacts their today. So we really see it as kind of we're the conduit and the action on the pre-action that actually happened the day before. But from birth all the way until you die, actually you have credit impacts your entire life. And so we knew that there was a journey that was going on behind the scenes, but we really never actually said, okay, well, how do we interact with all of the consumers and where they are in the credit ecosystem? So, all right, so now where we started was, our business has been around for about 20 years, and we started off in credit repair. And when I first joined, it was funny, the CEO sat down and he said, let me tell you about our business. We're the Mayo Clinic. If you walk in the front door, we have the best doctors in the world, we help you, we make sure you get fixed, and then we send you out the back door, done. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good analogy. Makes a lot of sense. We do that on a large scale. I think at some point somebody said to me that we have over 100 billion data points. Andy talks about PII. We've got a lot of PII. So we knew that this was where we were, but we didn't knew that this was not where we're going. So the funny thing is we kind of came up with a board slide, and then I took some stuff off of here. It was like, hey, look, we know that we want to be more in that continuum. Is the red button the back button? We'll go back for just a second. Okay. So we knew that we wanted to play here. We knew that we were here, and then we knew that we put a board slide together, which always makes everything reality, right? You put it in a board deck, and it actually just works. We know that's not the truth. But so we went out, and we did a couple things. One, we acquired Credit.com as a business. And 2, we actually started building credit care products that we have today. So we then like kind of bought these businesses, did these things, and then we made a board slide, and it all worked out in the way that it should have. And the funny thing was then we're like, okay, now we got it, and said, okay, now let's go back and revise the story. So the CEO's like, okay, here's our story. We're the Mayo Clinic. Okay, you're really sick, you come in the front door, we fix you, we spit you out the back door. But then we're like, okay, well, here's the other part of the story. Now we can tell you if you're sick or not with Credit.com. Okay, that's interesting. And if you're sick, we put you into the Mayo Clinic. And if you're not sick, we tell you stop eating so many cookies and eat salads. And if you ever get sick, we put you back in the Mayo Clinic. Okay, there's our story. That was really good. So then we sat down and said, okay, now we've got a story, we've got a board slide, which makes everything perfect. And we're like, okay, well, let's sit down and actually figure out how to make sure that we're doing this. So this is where it got really interesting. So last year, we do a traditional offsite every year, and we sat down and we said, hey, let's let's make sure that we're on the right path. So we came up and my colleague and I, we were like, well, let's look and say, here's where we want to be in 2 years. And we did that, and I'll show you that in a second. And we looked at that, and we're like, I don't think that's where we are today. And he's like, yeah, I don't think that's where we are either. And I'm sure you guys have all had this similar statement of like, we know where we want to go, but how do we get there? And the journey is where it gets really tough. So we said, hey, let's do something different. Let's actually map out where we are today. And if you're a customer in this beautiful slide that a designer did, where are we actually today? And so we did that, and that's when things started to get really interesting. So that's where we are today. and we're like, okay, we're a lot farther away from where we thought we were, and we realized that a customer that actually wants to interact with us in all sorts of different touch points, we actually realized that we had a long way to go, which is great. So where this started to really become interesting is, okay, we knew that where we wanted to go, and I'll show you that in a second, but we knew that this is where we were today, is how did we get there? And this is kind of where it gets a little funky, and what I chose to do is just make this an example versus actually saying, here's our business strategy. But we sat down and literally went through everything that we needed to accomplish to get to here. And this is actually how we've changed so much, is this actually now is like in our hallways, it's on the walls instead of having blah paint. We've actually made sure that everybody knows where we're going. And to get there, we started off and said, okay, here's our list. And the whole company got behind it. And so we've actually now started moving large segments of people. Like I said, we have 4,000 people. We've actually started moving probably about 25% of the people in our organization into different chairs and how they actually relate to the organization to make sure that we can get to here long term, and started off by going from here. So couple things that I'll say, and then we can get to the panel is, if you don't know where you are today, you don't know where you're going. And that's true in most things in life versus even just business. Somebody said to me one time, it's funny that we generally in life plan more about where we're going on vacation than where we're going to be doing 2 years from now. And if you apply that to business, it probably actually is a more direct and acute statement. And then if you don't know where you're going, how can you end up getting there? I mean, this seems like a children's book versus anything literature-wise. But I don't know. Long story short, this helped us get to where we wanted to go more than anything else. And so, and I'll probably stop there, and we can probably get going.
Jason, thanks for